Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Alrighty. Good afternoon, everybody. 'Tis Thursday. We missed a day or two in there somewhere, but that, I guess, happens. Anywho, I'd like to thank everybody for subscribing. For those of you who, did. Tone it down over there, YouTube. You're drowning out my video. Alright, so, first off, thanks everybody for subscribing. Also, in answer to the couple of questions about doing more than just reading on here, for now, because this is, after all, our Neo-Residence Book Club, I think we'll stick to reading. However, depending on how it goes and the whole popular demand thing, perhaps when my kitchen comes back, we'll do a couple micro life skills lessons of some kind via YouTube, virtual reality, or whatever this is. But until then, or until I hear something else from somewhere else, we'll stick with the book club and just see how it goes. So we're probably almost exactly halfway through Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days edition. So we pick back up where we left off, which, ironically, by the looks of it here, is Thursday. So let's let Greg have back at it. Thursday. I asked Mom to take me back to Bombshell's beauty salon again today, even though I didn't really need a haircut. I just felt like catching up on the town gossip. Annette and two customers... Hi, Greg. Annette, my hairstylist, said she heard from a lady who knows Mrs. Jefferson that me and Rowley had a falling out. Apparently, Rowley's heartbroken because I didn't invite him to my birthday party. Well, if Rowley's upset, you wouldn't know it from looking at him. Every time I see Rowley, he's palling around with his dad. So, the way it looks to me, he's already got himself a new best friend. I just want to say I think it stinks that Rowley gets to go to the country club even though he still owes money on the fruit smoothie bill. Unfortunately, Rowley's chummy relationship with his dad is starting to affect my life. Mom says the way Rowley and his dad hang out together is neat, and that me and Dad should go fishing or play catch in the front yard or something. But the thing is, me and Dad just aren't cut out for that kind of father-son stuff. The last time Mom tried to get me and Dad to do something like that together, it ended with me having to pull him out of Rappahannock Creek. Greg and his father were in a small boat heading for a branch. Greg was rowing, his dad looking through binoculars. I take it that was a caption. Me. Duck! Duck! Dad. Where? Why? I don't see one. Where? Mom won't let it go, though. She says she wants to see more affection between the dad and us boys. And that's created some really awkward moments. Dad. Mom says I need to hug you guys. Friday. Today, I was watching TV, minding my own business, when I heard a knock at the front door. Mom said there was a friend there to see me, so I thought it must be Rowley coming to apologize. But it wasn't Rowley. It was Fregley. Fregley. Hello, friend. After I recovered from my initial shock, I slammed the door shut. I started to panic because I didn't know what Fregley was doing at my front door. After a few minutes went by, I looked out of the side window and Fregley was still standing there. I knew I had to take drastic measures, so I went to the kitchen to call the cops. But Mom stopped me before I could finish dialing 911. Mom said she invited Fragley over. She said I've seemed lonely ever since I had that fight with Rowley, and she thought she'd set up a play date with Fragley. See, this is why I should never tell Mom about my personal business. This Fragley thing was a total skirt? I don't know what that is. I've heard that a vampire can't come inside your house until you invite him in, and I'll bet it's the same kind of deal with Fragley. Vampire. Mind if I borrow some flour? Me. Sure. It's back in the kitchen. Hey, wait a second. So now I've got two things to worry about. The muddy hand and Fragley. And if I had to choose one to get me first, I'd take the muddy hand in a heartbeat. Mom, why don't you go outside and play with Fragley? Me, I think Fragley might be naked. Fragley, looking out from behind a tree. Woo! Woo! Saturday. Today was my birthday, and I guess things went more or less like I expected. The relatives started showing up around 1 o'clock. I asked Mom to invite as many people as possible so I could maximize my gift potential, and I got a pretty good turnout. Me. Gifts go on the dining room table. I like to cut to the chase on my birthday and get right to the gifts. So I told everyone to gather in the living room. I took my time with the cards, just like Mom asked. It was a little painful, but I got a good haul, so it was worth it. A special greeting. And how do you do? For a special nephew. By golly, that's you. Happy birthday. Aunt Brenda. Me. Ooh. Aunt Brenda, this is really neat. Aunt Brenda. When I saw it in the store, I knew it was just perfect. Unfortunately, as soon as I collected my checks, Mom confiscated the money to pay off Mr. Jefferson. Then I moved on to the wrapped presents, but there weren't a whole lot of those. The first gift from Mom and Dad was small and heavy, which I thought was a good sign, but I was still pretty shocked when I opened it. The box read, Ladybug cellular telephone, perfect for kids and the elderly. When I looked more closely, I found out it wasn't an ordinary mobile phone. It was called a Ladybug. The phone didn't have a keypad on it or anything. It only had two buttons, one to call home and one for emergencies. So it's pretty much useless. All my other gifts were clothes and other stuff I didn't really need. I was still hoping I might get that recliner, but once I realized there weren't any places Mom and Dad could be hiding a giant leather chair, I gave up looking. Then Mom told everyone it was time to go into the dining room to have some cake. Unfortunately, Uncle Joe's dog Killer had beaten us to it. I was hoping Mom would go out and get me a new cake, but she just took a knife and cut away the parts the dog didn't touch. Mom cut me a big piece, but by that point, I wasn't really in the mood for cake. Especially not with Killer throwing up little birthday candles under the table. Sunday. I guess Mom must have felt bad about how my birthday went down because today she said we could go to the mall and get a makeup gift. Mom took Manny and Roderick along for the ride, and she said they could each pick out something too, which is totally unfair because it wasn't their birthday yesterday. We walked around the mall for a while and ended up in a pet store. I was hoping we could pool our money to buy a dog, but Roderick seemed to be interested in a different kind of pet. The picture shows Roderick looking at a snake. Mom handed us each a $5 bill and told us we could buy whatever we wanted, but $5 doesn't exactly get you very far in a pet store. I finally settled on this really cool angelfish that's all different colors. Roderick picked out a fish too. I don't know what kind it was, but the reason Roderick chose it was because the label on the tank said the fish was aggressive. Manny spent his $5 on fish food. At first, I thought it was because he wanted to feed the fish that me and Roderick bought, but by the time we got home, Manny had eaten half the container. Monday. This is the first time I've had my very own pet, and I'm kind of getting into it. I feed my fish 3 times a day, and I keep his bowl really clean. I even bought a journal so I could track of everything my fish does during the day. I have to admit, though, I'm starting to have a little trouble filling up the pages. I asked Mom and Dad if we could buy one of those aquariums and get a ton of fish to keep my little guy company. But Dad said that aquariums cost money and maybe I could ask for one for Christmas. See, this is what stinks about being a kid. You only get 2 shots at getting stuff you want, and that's on Christmas and your birthday. And then, when one of those days does come, your parents mess things up and buy you a ladybug. If I had my own money, I could just buy whatever I wanted and not have to embarrass myself every time I needed to rent a video game or buy a piece of candy or something. Anyway, I've always known that I'll eventually be rich and famous, but I'm starting to get a little concerned that it hasn't happened yet. I figured I'd at least have my own reality TV show by now. Last night, I was watching one of those television shows where a nanny lives with a family for a week and then tells them all the ways they're screwing up. Well, I didn't know if the woman had to go to some special nanny school or something, but that's the kind of job I was born to do. I just need to figure out how to get myself in line for that job when the nanny retires. Me. Your house is a wreck. Your kids have no manners, and, hey, Mr. Johnson, you're not going out in that shirt, are you? A few years ago, I started collecting my personal mementos, like book reports and old toys and stuff like that, because when my museum opens, I want to make sure it's packed with interesting things from my life. Greg sits at the entrance to the Greg Heffley exhibit. Admission is $20. Customers, can we get a discount for our 3-month-old? Me. Sorry, no. No exceptions. I don't keep anything like lollipop sticks that have my saliva on them because, believe me, I do not need to be cloned. The picture shows 4 clones at Greg's door. Clone. Greg, we need money. When I'm famous, I'm gonna have to make some life changes. I'll probably have to fly in private jets because if I fly on regular planes, I'll get really annoyed when people in the back try to mooch off my first-class bathroom. Passengers. The bathroom was in the back is full, and little Timmy really has to... me. Hey, whoa, whoa! Another thing famous people have to deal with is that their younger siblings end up getting famous just because they're related. My closest brush with fame so far was when Mom signed me up for a modeling job a few years ago. I think her idea was to get pictures of me in clothes catalogs or something like that. But the only thing they used my picture for was this stupid medical book, and I've been trying to live it down ever since. Your character and Constiption by Marion Locke, PhD. Tuesday. I spent the afternoon playing video games and catching up on the Sunday comics. I turned to the back page and there was an ad where Little Cutie usually is. Wanna be on the funny pages? We're looking for a talented cartoonist to write and draw a one-panel comic to replace Little Cutie. Can you tickle your funny bone? Oh, sorry, not your tickle. Well, of course you can tickle your own. Can you tickle our funny bone? Small print. Cartoons featuring animals or pets will not be considered. Man, I've been waiting forever for an opportunity like this. I had a comic in my school paper once, but this is a chance to hit the big time. The ad said they weren't accepting any animal comic strips, and I think I know why. There's this comic about a dog called Precious Poochie, and it's been running for about 50 years. The guy who wrote it died a long time ago, but they're still recycling his old comics. I don't know if they're funny or not, because, to be honest with you, most of them don't even make sense to a person my age. The Precious Poochie comic shows a dog thinking, I just can't seem to figure out what's all the fuss over these here newfangled phonograph devices. Anyway, the newspaper has tried to get rid of that comic a bunch of times, but whenever they try to cancel it, all the Precious Poochie fans come out of the woodwork and make a big stink. I guess people think of this cartoon dog as their own pet, or something. The last time they tried to cancel precious Poochie, 4 busloads of senior citizens from Leisure Towers showed up at the newspaper offices downtown and didn't leave until they got their way. Mom was acting extra cheery this morning, and I could tell she had something up her sleeve. At 10 o'clock, she said we all needed to get into the station wagon, and when I asked her where we were going, she said it was a surprise. I noticed Mom had packed sunscreen and bathing suits and stuff in the back of the station wagon, so I thought we must be heading for the beach. But when I asked her if I was right, Mom said the place we were going was better than the beach. Wherever we were going, it was taking a long time to get there, and it wasn't that fun being stuck in the back seat with Roderick and Manny. Manny was sitting between me and Roderick on the hump. At one point, Roderick decided to tell Manny the hump was the worst seat in the car because it was the smallest and least comfortable. Well, that totally set Manny off. Eventually, Mom and Dad got sick of Manny's crying. Mom said I had to take a turn on the hump because I'm second youngest, and it was only fair. So, every time Dad ran over a pothole, my head hit the roof of the car. At about 2 o'clock, I was getting really hungry, so I asked if we could stop for some fast food. Dad wouldn't pull over because he said the people at the fast food restaurants are idiots. Well, I know why he thinks that. Every time Dad gets to the fried chicken place over near our house, he tries to place his order through the trash can. Dad, I'd like 2 value meals and a bottle of... Hello? I saw a sign for a pizza place, and I begged Mom and Dad to let us eat there. But I guess Mom was trying to save money because she came prepared. Mom, I packed healthy snacks. A half hour later, we pulled into a big parking lot, and I knew exactly where we were. We were at the slip slide water park where we used to go as kids. And I mean little kids. It's really a place meant for people Manny's age. Mom must have heard me me and Roderick groan in the back seat. She said we were gonna have a great day as a family, and it would be the highlight of our summer holiday. I have bad memories of the slip slide water park. One time, Grandma took me there, and she, I suppose I'm supposed to say, left me in the water slide area for practically the whole day. He said he was gonna go read his book and he'd meet me there in 3 hours. But I didn't actually go on any slides because of the sign at the entrance. Under 48 inches must be accompanied by an adult. I thought you had to be 48 years old to ride, but it turns out the 2 little lines next to the numbers meant inches. So I basically wasted my day waiting for Grandpa to come back and get me, and then we had to leave. Roderick has bad memories of the slip slide water park too. Last year, his band got booked to do a show on the music stage they have near the wave pool. Rodricks' band asked the park people to set them up with a smoke machine so they could have some special effects for their show. But somebody screwed up and they set Rodricks' band up with a bubble machine instead. I found out the reason Mom took us to the water park today. It was half price for families. Unfortunately, it looked like just about every family in the state was there too. When we got through the gates, Mom rented a stroller for Manny. I convinced her to spend a little more money and rent a double stroller because I knew it was going to be a long day and I wanted to conserve my energy. Mom parked the stroller near the wave pool, which was so crowded you could barely even see the water. After we put our sunscreen on and found a place to sit, I felt a few raindrops, and then I heard thunder. Then an announcement came over the loudspeaker. Due to lightning, the slip-slide water park is now closed. Thank you for coming and have a nice day. Everyone hit the exit and got in their cars, but with all the people trying to leave at the exact same time, it was a total traffic jam. Manny tried to entertain everyone by telling jokes. At first, Mom and Dad encouraged him. Manny, knock knock. Who's there? Your underwear. Mom, ha ha ha. Dad, good one, Manny. But after a while, Manny's jokes didn't even make sense. Knock. Manny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 named Clyde. We were low on petrol, so we had to turn off the air conditioner and wait for the parking lot to clear up. Mom said she had a headache and she went to the back to lie down. An hour later, traffic finally thinned out and we got onto the highway. We stopped for petrol and about 45 minutes later, we were home. Dad told me to wake Mom up, but when I looked in the back of the station wagon, Mom wasn't there. For a few minutes, nobody knew where she went. Then we realized that the only place she could be was at the petrol station. She must have gotten out to use the bathroom when we stopped and nobody noticed. Sure enough, that's where she was. We were glad to see her, but I don't think she was too happy to see us. The petrol station was closed. Mom stood outside, arms crossed. Dad, oops. Mom didn't really say anything on the ride back. Something tells me she's had her fill of family togetherness for a while, and that's good because I have too. Sunday. I really wish we didn't go on that trip yesterday because if we'd stayed home, my fish would still be alive. Before we left for our trip, I fed my fish, and Mom said I should feed Rodricks' fish too. Rodricks' fish was in a bowl on top of the refrigerator, and I'm pretty sure Roderick hadn't fed his fish, or cleaned the bowl once. I think Roderick's fish was living off of the algae growing on the glass. When Mom saw Rodricks' bowl, she thought it was disgusting. So she took his fish and put it in my bowl. When we got home from the water park, I went straight to the kitchen to feed my fish, but he was gone, and it wasn't a big mystery what had happened to him. I didn't even have time to feel sad about it because today was Father's Day and we all had to get into the car and go up to Grandpa's for brunch. I'll tell you this, if I'm ever a dad, you're not gonna see me dress up in a shirt and tie and going to Leisure Towers on Father's Day. I'm gonna go off by myself and have some fun. But Mom said she thought it would be a good for 3 generations of Heffley men to be together. I guess I must have been picking at my food because Dad asked me what was wrong. I told him I was bummed out because my fish died. Dad said he didn't really know what to say because he'd never had a pet die before. He said he used to have a dog named Nutty when he was a kid, but Nutty ran away to a butterfly farm. I've heard Dad tell this same story about Nutty and the butterfly farm a million times, but I didn't want to be rude and cut him off. Then Grandpa spoke up and said he had a confession to make. He said that Nutty didn't actually run away to a butterfly farm. Grandpa said what really happened was that he accidentally ran over the dog when he was backing his car out of the driveway. Grandpa, was that Frank's skateboard? Grandpa said he made up the butterfly farm story so he didn't have to tell Dad the truth, but that now they could have a good laugh over it. But Dad was mad. He told us to get into the car and he left. Grandpa with the bill for brunch. Dad didn't say anything on the way home. He just dropped us off at the house and drove away. Dad was gone for a long time, and I was starting to think maybe he was gonna just take the rest of the day for himself. But he showed up an hour later carrying a big cardboard box. Dad put the box on the floor, and, believe it or not, there was a dog in there. Mom didn't seem too thrilled that Dad went out and bought a dog without checking with her first. I don't think Dad has ever even bought a pair of pants for himself without getting Mom's okay for beforehand. But I think she could see that Dad was happy, so she let him keep it. At dinner, Mom said we should come up with a name for the dog. I wanted to name it something cool like Shredder or Ripjaw, but Mom said my ideas were too violent. Manny's ideas were a whole lot worse, though. He wanted to name the dog an animal name like elephant or zebra. Manny, Zeeb for short. Roderick liked the animal name idea, and he said we should call the dog Turtle. Roderick, Turd for short. Mom said we should call the dog Sweetheart. I thought that was a really terrible idea because the dog is a boy, not a girl. But before any of us could fight it, Dad agreed with Mom's idea. Mom, Sweetie for short. I think Dad was willing
Facebook.
to
Now.
go-
Jane Goldspink to the
Shop Bakery. I try sending now.
What?
Please
Hold
let me
on.
receive. Camera chooser. Back facing. Button.
So much for Do Not Disturb. I think Dad was willing to go with anything Mom came up with if it meant he didn't have to take the dog back. But something tells me Uncle Joe would not approve of our dog's name. Dad told Roderick he should go to the mall to buy a bowl and get the dog's name printed on it. And here's what Roderick came back with. The picture shows a bowl with Sweaty printed on it. I guess that's what you get when you send the worst speller in the family off to do your errands. Wednesday. I was really happy when we got our dog at first, but now I'm starting to have second thoughts. The dog's actually been driving me crazy. A few nights ago, a commercial came on TV and it showed some gophers popping in and out of their holes. Sweetie seemed pretty interested in that, so Dad said, "Where are the gophers, Sweetie? Where are they? Where are they, boy?" That got Sweetie all riled up, and he started barking at the TV. Now, Sweetie barks at the TV instantly, and the only thing that gets him to stop is when the commercial with the gophers comes back on. But what really bugs me about the dog is that he likes to sleep in my bed, and I'm afraid he'll bite my hand off if I try to move him. And he doesn't just sleep in my bed, he sleeps right smack in the middle. Dad comes in my room at 7 every morning to take Sweetie out, but I guess me and the dog have something in common because he doesn't like getting up out of bed in the morning either. So Dad turns the lights on and off to try to make the dog wake up. Dad, "Come on, Sweetie. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up." Yesterday, Dad couldn't get Sweetie to go outside, so he tried something new. He went to the front of the house and rang the doorbell, which made the dog shoot out of bed like a rocket. The only problem was he used my face as a launch pad. It must have been raining outside this morning, because when Sweetie came back in, he was shivering and soaking wet. Then he tried to get under the covers with me to get warm. Luckily, the muddy hand has given me a lot of practice with this sort of thing, so I was able to keep him out. Thursday. This morning, Dad wasn't able to get the dog out of bed, no matter what he tried. So he went to work, and about an hour later, Sweetie woke me up to take him outside. I wrapped myself in my blanket and then let the dog out of the front door and waited for him to do his business. But Sweetie decided to make a run for it, and I had to chase after him. You know, I was actually having a pretty decent summer until Sweetie came along. He's ruined the two things that are most important to me: television and sleep. And you know how Dad is, always getting on my case about lying around all day. Well, Sweetie is twice as bad as me, but Dad's crazy about that dog. I don't think the feeling is mutual, though. Dad is always trying to get the dog to give him a kiss on the nose, but Sweetie won't do it. I can kind of understand why the dog doesn't like Dad. The pictures show Dad walking Sweetie in the rain, taking him to the vets for vaccinations, and shouting at him for going to the toilet in the wrong place. The only person Sweetie really likes is Mom, even though she barely pays him any attention. And I can tell that's starting to drive Dad a little nuts. I think Sweetie is just more of a ladies' man, so I guess that's something else we have in common. And that will be a wrap for today, or at least for now, because of the simple fact that the volume's ended. It's a pretty good time, so thanks for coming out, and stay tuned for the next video, or whatever this is called. Have yourselves a good day, everybody. We're shutting her down.
Stop recording. Button.